Welcome back to Learn with Professor Janula. If you're a nursing student, this channel is just for you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Today we're learning about fertilization. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's get started. Dear students, fertilization is the joining of a sperm and an ovum, egg cell. The sperm comes from the father, and the ovum comes from the mother. When they meet and join together, a new cell is formed. This new cell is called a zygote. In simple words, fertilization is the beginning of a new life. Remember, sperm plus ovum equals zygote. Dear students, let us see the process of fertilization. After ovulation, the ovum, egg, is released from the ovary and enters the fallopian tube. It slowly moves towards the uterus. The ovum cannot move by itself. It is pushed along the fallopian tube by its muscular movements and tiny hair-like structures present in the tube. During sexual intercourse, millions of sperms are deposited in the vagina. These sperms start swimming through the female reproductive tract to reach the ovum. Many sperms try to reach the ovum, but usually only one sperm succeeds in entering it. When the sperm and ovum join together, fertilization occurs, and a zygote is formed. After entering the female reproductive tract, the sperms travel towards the fallopian tube. During this journey, many sperms do not survive, and only a few thousand reach the ampulla, which is the widest part of the fallopian tube and the usual site of fertilization. As they travel, the sperms become fully mature and gain the ability to fertilize the ovum. They release an enzyme called hyaluronidase, which helps them break through the outer layers of the ovum and reach inside. Although many sperms surround the ovum and help in this process, only one sperm is able to enter the ovum and fertilize it. So remember, many sperms reach the ovum, but only one sperm enters and fertilizes it. Once the sperm enters the ovum, fertilization is complete. The sperm nucleus and ovum nucleus join together and form a single new cell called a zygote. The zygote is the first cell of the new baby. It contains genetic information from both the mother and the father. Once one sperm enters the ovum, the outer membrane of the ovum changes and becomes sealed. This prevents any other sperm from entering. In this way, only one sperm can fertilize the ovum. The sperm and ovum each contribute 23 chromosomes. When they combine, the new cell contains 46 chromosomes, which is the normal number of chromosomes in humans. The fertilized ovum is called a zygote. This zygote is the first cell of the new baby and marks the beginning of human development. After fertilization, the zygote does not stay in the fallopian tube. It continues its journey towards the uterus and usually reaches the uterus in about 3 to 4 days. During this journey, the zygote starts dividing continuously. First it becomes 2 cells, then 4 cells, then 8 cells, then 16 cells, and the number keeps increasing. As more and more cells are formed, they gather together and form a solid ball of cells called the morula. Dear students, this picture shows a morula. A morula is a solid ball of cells formed by the repeated division of the zygote. As the fertilized ovum travels through the fallopian tube towards the uterus, it keeps dividing into more and more cells. When these cells become a compact cluster, it is called a morula. It usually contains about 16 to 32 cells and looks like a small mulberry, which is why it is called morula. Morula means mulberry. This is an important stage in early embryonic development. The morula will later develop into a blastocyst before implantation in the uterus. After the morula stage, a small fluid-filled space develops inside it. This cavity is called the blastocoil. As this cavity forms, the morula changes into a blastocyst. The blastocyst has 2 important parts. The outer layer of cells is called the trophoblast. This layer later helps in the formation of the placenta. The group of cells present inside is called the inner cell mass. These cells will develop into the embryo, which later grows into the baby. After the blastocyst is formed, it enters the uterus and remains there for about 2 to 3 days. During this time, the blastocyst gets ready to attach to the uterine wall. The cells become sticky and start making contact with the endometrium, which is the inner lining of the uterus. Gradually, the blastocyst attaches firmly to the endometrium and becomes embedded in it. This process of attachment is called implantation. It is also known as nidation, nesting, or embedding. After the blastocyst is formed, it enters the uterus and remains there for about 2 to 3 days. During this time, the blastocyst gets ready to attach to the uterine wall. The cells become sticky and start making contact with the endometrium, which is the inner lining of the uterus. Gradually, the blastocyst attaches firmly to the endometrium and becomes embedded in it. This process of attachment is called implantation. It is also known as nidation, nesting, or embedding. The inner lining of the uterus is called the endometrium. During pregnancy, this lining is known as the decidua. As pregnancy begins, hormones make the endometrium thicker and increase its blood supply. Because of this, it becomes soft and spongy. This soft, spongy lining provides a comfortable place for the fertilized ovum blastocyst to attach and grow. In simple words, the decidua is the special pregnancy lining of the uterus that nourishes and supports the developing baby. Dear students, the decidua has 3 layers. First is the basal layer. It is the deepest layer and lies close to the muscle of the uterus. Second is the functional layer. This layer supports the pregnancy and helps in nourishing the developing baby. Third is the compact layer. It is the uppermost layer and is present near the implanted embryo. Let us look at the first 2 layers of the decidua. First is the basal layer. It is the deepest layer and lies just above the myometrium, which is the muscular layer of the uterus. This layer does not change much during pregnancy and helps in regeneration of the endometrium after delivery. Second is the functional layer. This layer is rich in nutrients and acts as a storehouse of nutrients. It provides nourishment and support for the developing placenta and fetus. The third layer is the compact layer. This layer has a rich blood supply, so it is also called the spongy layer. The placenta attaches to this layer, and through it, nutrients and oxygen are supplied to the developing fetus. In simple words, the compact layer helps nourish and support the growing baby during pregnancy. A blastocyst has 2 main parts, the trophoblast and the inner cell mass. The trophoblast forms the placenta and chorion, which help in protecting and nourishing the developing baby. The inner cell mass develops into the fetus, amnion, and umbilical cord. The trophoblast is the outer layer of the blastocyst. It helps in implantation and later forms an important part of the placenta. The trophoblast has 2 layers. First is the syncytiotrophoblast. This layer invades the uterine lining and opens the maternal blood vessels, helping the growing embryo receive nutrients and oxygen. Second is the cytotrophoblast. This is the inner layer of trophoblast cells, and it gives rise to new cells that support the growth of the trophoblast. The cytotrophoblast produces a hormone called HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. This hormone sends a signal to the corpus luteum that pregnancy has started. The corpus luteum then continues to produce progesterone. Progesterone helps maintain the endometrium so the implanted embryo can grow properly. It also prevents menstruation from occurring during pregnancy. In simple words, HCG helps to maintain pregnancy in the early weeks by keeping the uterine lining healthy and preventing menstrual bleeding. The inner cell mass develops into 3 primary germ layers. First is the ectoderm. This layer mainly forms the skin and nervous system. Second is the mesoderm. This layer forms the bones, muscles, heart, blood vessels, and many other internal organs. Third is the endoderm. This layer forms the inner lining of organs, such as the digestive and respiratory tracts, and also forms many glands. The amniotic cavity is a fluid-filled space that develops around the embryo. As the embryo grows, this cavity also grows and surrounds the embryo for protection. The lining of the amniotic cavity forms the amnion, which later contains the amniotic fluid around the baby. The yolk sac is present on the opposite side of the embryo. In the early stages of development, it provides nourishment to the growing embryo. That's the end of this video. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more nursing learning videos. Thank you for watching, and keep learning.